Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Shilpa Data Insights.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to discuss one more Python topic. In the previous videos, we have already discussed about the variables, the input, how you can take the user input and give the output and how to do a print statement. And then we also have discussed about the Boolean functionality. So now in this video, we are coming one step forward. We will be discussing about numeric. So numeric means it could be like an integer, could be float, could be complex type. These are very basic fundamentals of Python. Just don't think where exactly we will be using all this. Learn it about it and practice it, because these are the foundation of Python programming language, which will be required in order to use it in the next chapters. Let's say if you are learning string and then you are doing some if-else statement, you are doing a control statement, there are many more things that you will be learning in future, right? So these are the basic. Don't skip these basics and learn about the numeric that we will be covering today. And once you are doing it, then go ahead and practice it out. So let's get started with today's video related to Python numeric. Before that, please do hit the like button, subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends to learn Python and all the data engineering concepts with the interview playlist that I've created in the whole channel that you will get. It will really help you in learning new technologies, the language, and also crack the interview process. So stay tuned.
So in this, what we are going to discuss the types of it. Then we are going to discuss the math functionality, then the rounding, advanced, random, and validation. So numeric means it's a number, right? And in the number, you can have an integer, you can have float, and you can also have the complex data type. If you remember in your maths class of 10 and 12, you have also learned about the complex along with the integer and the float data type. So we will also see that. And then you also do these operations. If you will see here, these are some operations that you perform. That is basically, if you think about, we have the BODMAS, right? And in the BODMAS, you have division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So, and you also have some operations, right? So we will also go ahead and see these functionalities. And then we will also see how we can go ahead and do an absolute and round function. So if in case, let's say you have a number 4.25687492345. If you will see, it is a very big number. And if you don't want so much, right? You want only till 2 decimal points, then how you can extract these 2 decimal points and put it to 4.26. If you remember, if it is 6, then it is above 5, right? So you are putting here 6, you are adding +1. That we have already learned it in our class 12, right? And then if in case you have -4.25, then how you are actually doing it. In the -4.25, you are only needing the positive value, that is 4.25, how you are going to do that. Then you also have the square root that we will be discussing, some advanced functionality, and then we will also discuss about the random, how you can validate whether there is an integer, only the numbers that is being present, and how you can validate that the data types is correct, right? So we will be covering all the points. So let's go ahead and discuss about the type of it. So in the type, as we were discussing in the type, basically we have two functionalities. In the type, we have either an integer or float or complex. So if you have to see any type of the number, then what you need to do in this, you just write type and inside that your number, let's say 12. So what should be the type of this? This should be an integer, right? And if I have to type of 25.4, then what is the type of this? It's float. And if you remember, there is a complex data type as well. So if you think about it, if I do type of 2J, what it is? It is a complex data type. So in the complex data type, we have two parts. One is the real part and the second is our imaginary part. So in the real part, it contains 2, let's say, and then you have a plus, and in the imaginary part, you are mentioning it as 4J. So this is called the complex data type. So we will discuss about the complex data type and then we will do the manipulation on the top of it. So let's go step by step how we can declare a number and how we can decide the type of it first. So I will do print of 1, 2, 3. Okay. So if I do print of 1, 2, 3, what it should return me? It should return me 1, 2, and 3. Right. Now if I do print of 1, 2, and 3, what should it return? It should return me 1, 2, and 3. Right. Now if I do print type of this 1, 2, 3 and type of this 1, 2, 3, what should be my result? The first one is an integer data type. It comes under the class integer. The second is my string data type, which comes under the string class. Now let's say I have print and I'll print 12.43. Right? If I print 12.43, it's going to return me 12.43. Now let's see what is the data type of 12.03. It is a float data type. Float data type means it will have a decimal value in it. Now, let's talk about the complex data type. So, complex data type can be 1 plus 2j. If I do 1 plus 2j and if I print this, what it's returning? It's returning me 1 plus 2j, and if you will see, it's inside the bracket. Now, if I do type of this 1 plus 2j, what it should return? It should return me the complex data type, right? Now you understand what are the data types. Now, if you have to, let's say this 12.43, you don't want this 12.43 and you want this to be an integer data type, right? So what I can do is I will do print and I will do an integer and I will do 12.43. So what it is going to do is it's going to convert this 12.43 float data type into an integer data type. Now you see it's 12.43 is my coming to an integer. There is no decimal value in it. So it's an integer. Now let's say I want to check the type of this. So it should return me the type of this 12.43, but I'm converting this 12.43 into an integer. So the type should be an integer. See, the type of this particular 12.43 is my integer, right? So now you understand what are the data types and how you can convert. So now let's say I want to also convert this string that I have 1, 2, 3 into my integer data type. So let me write convert string to int, right? So it will be converting the string to int. It's returning me int. Now let me put the type of this so that I will understand what is the type of this. So the type of this is basically integer. So now let's perform some operations. So in the operations, we will be using the math operation. So let's say we have addition, subtraction, then we have division, multiplication, then we have float division, and so on. So let's perform them one by one. Now, if I do a print and in that I will do 3 plus 2. Okay. So what is my 3 plus 2? It's going to give me 3 plus 2 is 5. So means this is an integer 3 and this is an integer 2. Now let's say x is 3 and y is 2, right? So instead of 3 plus 2, what I will do x plus y. So what will be the result? It will be the same. Now I say, let's say I am doing 3 and I am doing a 2. What should be my result? It is x plus y. It should be 32. Why is it 32? Because it's a concatenation. It's 3 and 2 because this is a string data type. It's not an integer data type. Now we are focusing on numeric, that is the integer. So what I will do is I'll do 3 and then minus 2. So 3 minus 2 will be 1. Now let's say I'm doing a multiplication of it, that is 3 into 2 is what? It's 6, right? Now if I have to divide 3 divided by 2, it is 1.5. Now if you will see the data type of this, if I do type of this, it will give me the result float because that is my type. Now I will do print x float division y. Float division y means it's going to remove the decimal part and give me only the integer part of it, right? So that is x modulus y, which will be the integer type. If I do a type of this, then it will be an integer type. See, this is an integer type. Now, let's say I have print. I want to do a 3 to the power of 2, right? 3 to the power of 2 means what? It's 3 into 3. Sorry, it's 3 into 3. So 3 3s are 9, right? So 3 3s are 9. Now, if I have to do the same thing with x and y, what I will do is I'll do x to the power of y, right? So for to the power of y, you have to do 2 stars. So that will give me x to the power of y, which is 3 into 3, which is 9. If I have to do here 3 multiplied by 3 only, so I'll do x into y. So this will give me 6, right? Now, let's say I have all this. Now, in x divided by y is giving me 1.5, right? Let me write it down. X divided by y is giving me 1.5. Now, if I want to go ahead and get the remainder of this, so I will do print x modulus y. So x modulus y is what? It is 1 because it's giving me 3 divided by 2 and whatever it's the remaining, it is giving me that value. That is 1, right? So these are some functionalities of the math operation that Python has inbuilt. Now, if you talk about the other Python functionality like ceil, round and all, how we can do it. So let's say I have x or z is equal to 1.23456, right? Now I don't want the whole number. So what I can do is I can do a print and I can round it up, the z value. If I round it up, it should give me one integer value here only, that is 1. It's not giving me any decimal value here. Let me put here 1.6. Then it will give me 1.6 is converted into 2. So that is how the round functionality is used. Now let's say I have c is equal to minus 2.33333. So let's say you are calculating a difference between two numbers. So it could be a sales number, right? And the previous sale was higher and the next year's sale was less. So if you calculate the previous minus the next sale, it can give you a negative number whenever there is a downfall. But you don't want to show it as a downfall. What you want to do is you want to actually show it as an absolute number without the negative value. Like what is the difference only you want to show. You don't want to show which year basically went with higher sales. So in that case, what you can do is you can do a print command and in that you can mention the absolute value of that particular C. So if I run this current file, then you see the minus is actually removed from here and only the positive value is being shown. That is the integer value that is being there. Now, we will also see what is C and what is float. So let's go ahead and see what is a ceil and what is a floor. So first is we have seal and what is a floor. In seal, if I just seal means the upper ceiling, if you think about that, and floor means the floor on which you are, right? So seal is here. So what we have here is our floor, right? And then here we have the mid value, and then we also have the seal. So the mid value is 1.5. So let's say our floor value is 1 and then we have seal value is 2 and then we have the mid 1.5. So it means between 1 and 2 there is other numbers as well, right? There is 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9 and then 2. So let's say I got a value which is 1.2. Now, what is the floor of this 1.2? The floor of this 1.2 is 1, right? Now, if I talk about 1.4, what is the floor of this 1.4? It is this. For 1. Let's say 1, the floor value is 1. Now, if I talk about the seal, what is the seal of 1.9? It is 2. And what is the value for 1.8? It is also 2. What is the value for 1.6? It is also 2. So all the seal value will become 2 here and all the floor value will become 1 here. What about 1.5? 1.5 is the mid value. So whenever you are doing a seal which is less than 1.5, then it will become 1. And whenever it is greater than 1.5, the seal value will become 2. So this is become your floor value and this is your seal value, right? Now, if I talk about the round, how exactly it works? If the round of 1.4, what is the round for 1.4? It will be your 2, right? So, for example, if I do round of 1.4, then it will become 2. Now, if I do round of 1.7, it will become also 2. So, there is one more point that you have to keep in mind is, if in case there are values like, if there are values here, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. So, this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, if there is any value which is 1.7, let's say, the round of this will become 2. That is even number. If you have any number called 2.5, then round of 2.5 will again become 2. And if you have any value, let's say 3.4, the round of this will again become 4. So whatever even number is there, it is going to round to that particular even number. It's not going to round to an odd number. So that is what is all about the round functionality, right? So what we learned is about seal, floor, and round. So it's very easy to understand with this particular diagram that I have explained to you. Now let's go to the practical and see how exactly it works. So let's say I have a value A is equal to 1.2. Okay. And we have B is equal to 2.6 and C is equal to 3.3. So now I will first do print of my seal value. So in the seal, I will mention A. I think seal here, you have to import the math functionality, the math module, because these are all math modules. So what I will do is I will do import math. Inside the math, you get these functions called seal. So if you will see, these are all the functions that you get with the math module. What you can do is you can select C here, okay, and inside the C you put what value you want to do the seal. So in A, what is the value for seal of A? So let's run this particular code. So you see the value for 1.2 of seal is 2, as I was explaining you before. So let me just do a print here just to distinguish. Okay. Now let's do a print math of C same for B. Okay. And run it for B. So now you see for B is what? 2.6 and seal of this is 3. Now if I do seal of C, that is 3.3. What should be the seal? Just think about it. It should be 4 because that is the top value. Right? Now if I do the same with floor, I will do print here floor value. So let me just type it in string so that you understand what is the answer. Floor value is math.floor. In the math.floor, I'll mention my A, right? Similarly, I will do the rest. That is for B and for C as well. So what is the value of the floor value of A? That is 1.2. It should be 1. What is the floor value of 2.6? It should be 2. What is the floor value of 3.3? It should be 3, right? So let's execute this. So the floor value is 1, floor value of B is 2, and floor value of C is 3. Now let's see the round functionality. So round of the value. Okay. So I will do math dot round. Okay. So the round is not a math module function. It is a built-in function. Okay. So what I will do is I will do round and I'll mention the number. That is the value. For A variable, I want to round it up. Okay. And for B value, similarly, I want to round it up. And for C value also, I want to go ahead and round it up. So let's go ahead and round all the values. For A, if you will see, if I round 1.2, what should be the round value? It's 1. And if I have to round 2.6, it is 3. And for 3.3, it is again 3, right? Now let's say I have a value here called 1.230567, right? And maybe 089, and it could be anything. Now I want to do a print round of this Z. Okay. Now I want to round it to only, let's say, 3 decimal points. So I'll mention how many digits I need after 3 decimal points. So that is, so I'll mention Z, 3. Now let's see. So it has given me 1.2.3.5, right? So this is my answer for my round of Z, 3. So there are total 3 decimal points. After decimal point, there will be 3 digits. So it's 1.2.3 and 2.3, 4 and 5, right? So as we are getting 5 here, what will be the next value for 4? It should be 5, right? So that is how you actually round it up to 3 decimal points. Now you understand how you can do a round as well. So let's go to the next topic that we are looking for. That is the advanced built-in function and the math module function basically, which is sine, cosine, square root. So this all you will need if you are learning data science. This will be required to actually implement, but I'll not go into depth. I'll go into the next topic, which is a very interesting topic, which is the random function. So let's say I have a random module. So for that random, you have to first import random. Okay, that is a module from which you can use different functionality. So in the print statement, I will mention random. From the random module, I have all these choices that I can use. I can use random, I can use seed, I can use different other functionalities. What I will concentrate right now is the random function that it provides. So I'll do print random dot random. So what it will give me is a random value. Out of any number, it's going to give me any random value. And if I execute every time, it is going to give me a different result every time. So let me do a print. You will see here, it says 0.221512 and so on, right? So this is my random value. If I'm going to execute again, it's going to give me a different value. See, 0.857 and so on, right? So if you think about this, what is the use case of random? The use case of random is basically if you are testing something in your dev environment and you need a dummy data, then in that case, you can use the random value, right? Let's say, for example, the date of birth, or let's say the sales amount that each year it is producing. So those values, if you don't have the data, you will not be able to test your data pipelines. So in order to test the data pipelines, you can mention what data type you need. And in that data type column, you can go ahead and insert any dummy data. And in order to generate that dummy data, the easiest way is to use the Python function that random module provides, which is random. Now, if you will see in this random module, the complete value is random and it gives you a lot of values in the decimal. If in case you have a use case, for example, age of the employee or maybe the sales, it should be between 1000 and 5000, or age should be between 20 till 40. So let's say we are going ahead and checking who all are liking the video, right? And let's say all of them, I know it's between the age 20 and 40. So I need to go ahead and provide a dummy data to my data set in order to do my manipulation and run my pipeline. So I have to restrict it till 20, from 20 to 40. So that also I can do. So what I can do in that case, I will do a print, and with the help of my random module, there is a range, right? So I can use rand int. You see, there's a rand range, there's a rand bytes, there's a rand int. So I can use the rand int functionality in which I can mention I want the numbers between 20 and 40. Okay, so it's A is between 20 and B is 40. Now, let me go ahead and generate this value. See, it's between 20 and 40, it generated 38. If I execute it again, it's returning me a different result. That is 31. And so on, right? So random is a very good function which you can use in order to generate the dummy data. So now let's go into a step further that's related to validation. In the validation, you have different functions. So if you think about, if I have to validate whether a particular column is only having numbers, let's say the age should only have numbers, right? It should not have any digits. So in that case, how will you validate it? So let's say I will use age as my variable and I will put 30. Okay. Now I will do print and I will do age dot is numeric. So it is giving me an error because age dot is numeric is not correct. So let's correct this particular statement. So in Python, we don't have is numeric. What we have is integer. If I go ahead and run this particular value, age is 30.00. Whether it's an integer value, it is true because there is no sense here to put 00. 30.00 means 30 itself, right? So it is going to give me the true value. Now let's say if I do 30.55, then it should give me false because this is a floating type number, right? So you can use this as integer in order to see whether it's an integer or whether it is a floating point number. Now, if I talk about another functionality here, which is instance. So in the is instance, it is going to tell you whether it is a string or whether it is an integer. So if you know the data type, let's say age here is a float data type, then it is going to give you true. If in case it's an integer data type, then it is going to give you the false. So what I mean is, let's say I do a print and I'll pass the variable age and I'll mention what data type it is. It is a float data type, right? So let me execute this. So it says, yes, it is a float data type. Now let me make it as integer and see, it should say that no, it's not a integer data type, right? So it's false. Now if I do a string, it will say, no, it is not a string data type. It is an integer float data type, right? So it's false. So let me put it inside the code. This is my string, as I have already explained. So now I will check whether it's a string data type. It should show me that it's a string data type, but this gave me an error. So let me just rerun this command. Now this is a true. Yes, it's a string data type. So now if you will see, we have learned a lot of things in this particular video. First is how you can go ahead and check the data type of your different numbers like integer, float, and complex data type. Then we have seen some manipulations on the top of it, like the math operations, plus, minus, multiplication, division, float division, modulus, right? And then we have also seen how to use the round functionality, which is the built-in function of Python. And then some advanced function with the help of the math module. In the math module, you get a lot of functions like the ceil, floor, and so on. And then also you get the square root, the sine, cos, which are the advanced functions. And then you come across the random function, which is coming from the random module in order to generate some random values. And then we have also seen how to exactly go ahead and use the is instance, right, and is integer to check the data type and to check and validate whether that value is an integer or not. So I hope you have understood the complete video and you can go ahead and practice each and every concept that I have taught you so that you remember the things, and also watch the previous videos in which I have explained to you the Boolean input and variables so that everything is there in your mind, so that the next session that I will be sharing with you, in that you will be learning something new. So make sure you practice it, and if you have liked the video, do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends, which will help you in excelling in Python language. So thank you so much guys. For next video, stay tuned.
Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you have a good day.